theta rhythms, which are more like 4 to 8 hertz, can bring the brain into a state of subtle. I get a lot of questions about so-called binaural beats. Can binaural beats make us more focused? Can binaural beats allow us to relax more if we're anxious? Binaural beats, as their name suggests, involve playing one frequency of sound to one ear and a different frequency of sound to the other ear. So it might be dun 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 to your right ear, and it might be dun 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 to the left ear. And the idea is that the brain will take those two frequencies of sound, and because the pathways that bring information from the ears into the brain eventually cross over, they actually share that information with both sides of the brain, that the brain will average that information and come up with a sort of intermediate frequency. And the rationale is that those intermediate frequencies place the brain into a state that is better for learning. Their binaural beats have been thought to increase creativity, or at least have been proposed to increase creativity. So what do the scientific data say about binaural beats? So what do the scientific data say? So believe it or not, the science on binaural beats is actually quite extensive and very precise. So sound waves are measured typically in hertz or kilohertz. You may have heard of these things as delta waves or theta waves or alpha waves or beta waves, etc. Delta waves would be big, slow waves, so low frequency. Delta waves, like 1 to 4 hertz, so very low frequency sounds, think Costello's snoring, can help in the transition to sleep and for staying asleep. And that theta rhythms, which are more like 4 to 8 hertz, can bring the brain into a state of subtle sleep or meditation, so deeply relaxed but not fully asleep. And then you can sort of ascend the staircase of findings here, so to speak, and you'll find evidence that alpha waves, 8 to 13 hertz, can increase alertness to a moderate level. That's a great state for the brain to be in for recall of existing information. Okay? And that beta waves, 15 to 20 hertz, are great for bringing the brain into focus states for sustained thought or for incorporating new information, and especially gamma waves, the highest frequency, the most frequent ripples of sound, so to speak, 32 to 100 hertz for learning and problem solving. Now, all of this matches, or I should say maps onto what I've said before about learning really nicely, which is that you need to be in a highly alert state in order to bring new information in order to access a state of mind in which you can tell your brain, or the brain is telling itself, okay, I need to learn this. This is why stress and unfortunate circumstances are so memorable, is because our brain gets into a really high alert system. Here we're talking about the use of binaural beats in order to increase our level of alertness or our level of calmness. Now, that's important to underscore, because it's not that there's something fundamentally important about the binaural beats. They are yet another way of bringing the brain into states of deep relaxation through low frequency sound, or highly alert states for focused learning with more high frequency sound. There's very good evidence for anxiety reduction from the use of binaural beats. And what's interesting is the anxiety reduction seems to be most effective when the binaural beats are bringing the brain into delta, so those slow big waves like sleep, theta and alpha states. There's good evidence that binaural beats can be used to treat pain, chronic pain. Binaural beats have been shown to modestly improve cognition, attention, working memory, and even creativity. But the real boost from binaural beats appears to be for anxiety reduction and pain reduction. Binaural beats are either relatively inexpensive thing to access. Most of the apps are pretty inexpensive. I don't have a favorite binaural beats app to recommend to you. I confess I did use binaural beats a few years ago. I kind of shifted over to other what I call NSDR, non-sleep deep rest protocols, in favor of those. But many people like binaural beats and say that they benefit from them, especially while studying or learning. I think part of the reason for that relates to the ability to channel our focus when we have some background noise.